All right, welcome back to the Homestand Show. And joining us now, it's the one and only Bobby Conway of BET99 with his beautiful Blue Jays sweater on. He's going to the game tonight.
Yes.
So is producer Sean.
Yes.
So I asked you before we came on air, can you please hold the camera and film producer Sean eating a poutine hot dog? Will you do that for us?
I guess so.
Thank you.
Doesn't sound like a great gig.
We need the footage on the show. We have to see producer Sean eat one of these.
Okay.
And there might be a big long lineup, all right?
Yes.
But for the good of the show, Sean, he's a producer after all.
Yes.
He has to do this for us.
Yeah.
He has to.
Yeah.
Like,
If
yeah.
he missed the first 4 or 5 innings, it's worth it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you have to buy Bobby Conway.
I don't got to do anything.
Oh, there he is. Look at his shirt, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
don't got to do anything, but for the good of the show, I'll think about it. Just, if the line's crazy long, I live 5 minutes from the Dome. I'll go and get a poutine dog at least once. But I can't
Humble brag there. Humble. I live 5 minutes,
from the Dome.
Downtown real estate, not a problem for Sean.
Easy.
Yeah, I rent.
Thanks for inviting the boys
Rent
over.
control. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, have a good rest of the segment, boys.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we have about 14 minutes with Bobby Conway.
Love it.
When's the last time? Anyway, I'm not going to dude, I haven't been this excited for a Jays home opener in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because of the team or the renovations, the poutine dog,
Yeah.
but there's so much positivity surrounding the Jays, more than I think the Leafs and the Raptors combined. I think people actually feel like the Jays have a legitimate shot of being one of the best teams in baseball.
And I have no idea why. I'm on board with you, but the last time I saw this team, it was a classic Toronto moment. I was at that game too.
The home opener?
No, when they lost to Seattle. That's what I mean. We're all excited about this, but man, I agree with you. I'm so pumped. The idea of the renovation is going to be great, although it's going to be tough on opening day to find a spot in the outfield. But the way this team is built with Blatty and Bo and the way Matt Chapman's playing contract year, Matt Chapman looks like he's going to be in there for the AL MVP. Probably not going to continue at this pace, but the excitement's all there. But last time I saw them, I was not happy about it.
That was brutal. Hey, the Mariners game, you were down there. You had this guy had the Mariners jersey on.
Hey, I predicted it. Like the Jays did what the Jays do. Everybody's been talking about how.
Let's not dwell on this.
You see this? Home opener? You see what we're talking about here?
You know,
No,
the
I'm
Vancouver
just saying-
boys dragging us back now.
No, I'm not trying to drag you back. I'm just trying to level expectations. Like, look, this team was supposed to be a World Series contender for last year too. Let's see what happens.
The most exciting part of that game for me was when the fans started chanting "Robbie, Rob," because he was giving up all the runs.
That's right.
And I always wanted a stadium full of
You
people
felt
to
good.
chant my name. So I was
felt
just
like it was
yeah,
for
here
you.
we go. It was for me.
But the excitement, though, for me, isn't even about the team. Yeah, they're a good team,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's about the actual the
stadium.
The stadium,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Renovations. That's what all the frills are about right now.
Sure, $300 million investment.
Better be good.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to make it exciting. Look, as much as we make fun of, the Sky Dome and the big giant cement block that it is, when you get inside on a nice warm evening or even on an afternoon in Saturday in July, it can be a lot of fun in there. It's hot. Especially when the team's winning, it's a younger crowd, and it's not the business crowd you see a lot of times at the Leaf games and sometimes at the Raptors games. It's 40,000 people having a bit of a party, and now you add these bars out there, and you're adding also the fact that the bar is like 5 feet away from the opposing bullpen, and it might get a little rowdy in there as opposed to what it usually is when the team stinks and there's 12,000 people in there on a Tuesday night, and it's like, man, it's quiet.
I've been there, and I've enjoyed those, though. I've enjoyed those empty nights at the Rogers Center
Toonie Tuesdays.
on a Tuesday. Yeah, it's great. Go ahead.
I think like the biggest thing is to these whole renovations was to engage the new generation of fans and to get people, because for me, when you go to a Jays game, it's more of a social outing than to watch the game, right? You want to go there, enjoy it, and I think that's what they've done. And I think, like you mentioned, in the summertime, on a nice night, the $20 general admission tickets are going to be massive because people just want to go there, have a few beers, have a nice time, and catch a game. And I think that right there is the biggest selling point for these new renovations.
But the team being good has a lot to do
Absolutely.
with that.
It does. But I mean, for me, there's no doubt that at this point in Toronto sports law, they are the second best place to watch a sporting event in the city, right?
What's number one?
TFC.
TFC?
No,
When
no.
it's packed
It's a
on a
good
summer evening.
In the
good.
South
The
End,
atmosphere?
it's pretty
Yeah, I'll
fun.
give you that. It's
Outstanding.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Raptors game is a good time, too.
But there's no poutine hot dogs there.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Which
That's
we got to
true.
get Sean to eat. Okay, Bobby Conway, we should probably talk about the game.
Yeah.
Alek Manoah getting the ball for the Jays. I've been reading a lot of different articles about who should be the number one starter for this team. Is it Gausman? Is it Manoah? I think I'm with you based on that reaction.
Yeah.
It should be Manoah, right?
Yeah, he projects what a number one starter is like when he's talking, when he is on the field. I love the aggressive nature of him when he's pitching. I love when he's barking to the other side, because he backs it up for one. But number two, that's the personality you want in I think your ace. You want a guy who goes out there and says, I don't care what's going on here. I'm going to dominate this performance. Now, granted, he wasn't great in the playoffs last year, and in the opening game of this year, that adds a little bit more pressure. It wasn't fantastic either. So he's learning how to maybe adjust to having that little bit extra pressure, a little bit more intensity. But on a day in, game out basis, he's the number one guy, and his attitude is the same.
Yeah, I mean, he also is not one of the. A lot of people have been coming out and speaking out against his antics, though. So I think he really has to, focus on get his game back in
But
order.
what are his antics? He's an emotional guy.
Exactly, but again, people, it just opens things up for criticism. And I think especially for a pitcher and all of that, and it gets overblown by the media. I really want to see him hone in and have a strong performance, and I think he will have a good performance tonight
Against the Detroit Bats,
one of the worst teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Awful team, right?
Yeah.
Just
and that
terrible.
really helps. But then you got Tampa on the weekend, so get your wins while you can.
Yep.
With the bat in hand, any concern yet with Brandon Belt? I mean, listen, I know he's facing more righties this week, which is better for him, but this is a guy that signed for almost $10 million. I know that's not a ton in the modern, baseball parlance, but it's still enough. And you need that guy with his bat, and so far he's been terrible, 1 in 23.
Yeah, he's not going to make or break this season for the Toronto Blue Jays, but when you make an investment similar to Yusei Kikuchi last year, when you put $10+ million into a roster position, you want that person to be at least average, and so far he hasn't been. I think there's enough bats up and down the lineup to make up for that. Especially when you have the performances you're getting out of Matt Chapman right now, and obviously with Vladdy and Bo, as I mentioned. But yeah, I mean, I guess getting adjusted, being a little more comfortable. They've been on the road. They'll get to the friendly confines of Rogers Center. The fences have been brought in, and maybe that'll
I mean,
project.
listen, starting the season, 10 games on the road.
Yeah.
Going 6-4 with questionable pitching. The bats are fantastic. Once the pitching starts to figure itself out, we're going to see what this team really is. I find it so difficult to talk about baseball early in the season in terms of how guys are playing and what they're doing, because everything kind of balances out, right? With 162 games.
It's the one sport, right?
How do you
More than
manage?
any other
Like,
sport,
yeah,
right?
what's the best way of managing that, right? You just got to kind of talk about what you see, right?
Exactly. I think you just got to put it all in perspective, right? Like right now, the first 10 games, like you mentioned, 10 games on the road for any team. That's a tough stretch to come across. Now they get to go home, get back comfortable. Again, there's a new dimension, so nobody's really going to have an advantage yet. But over the season, that's going to really help with the Jays over other teams that are coming to the Rogers Center. It's kind of like it's going to be a new hitter-friendly park. They're saying she should have more home runs. So that's going to be something to watch out for, too, this opening series. What, how many more home runs are there? And how does it play going forward?
And, the Tampa Bay Rays are, 10-0 right now? That's the equivalent of one win in the NFL, mathematically.
Yes, right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
right,
Like,
yeah.
yes, 10-0 is great. 6-4 is what it is. But there's such a long season. Now, look, the Jays missed the playoffs by one game a couple years ago. So every game counts at the end of the season, but you do have lots and lots of time not to get too much in a panic. Because when they were 1-3, they really should have lost the home opener as well. Could have been 0-4, and it was like, all right, this is not going to be working out quite as well.
Right.
But here they are, 6-4 coming home. I thought they had a good stretch.
Yeah, I think so too. You get a final chance in Toronto to see Miguel Cabrera on his retirement run.
They're going to honor him, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What was the eye roll? What was Sharps,
Listen,
come on.
nothing is old Miggy. He's legend, right?
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
3,000 hits,
I
500
know,
home
but why
runs.
should the opposing teams honor an
I know.
opposing
This
player?
has been a thing that's been happening
A
over the past
goodbye
few
tour.
years.
I think it
Yeah.
started with Derek
Pujols?
Jeter, didn't it?
It was
Yeah,
Jeter,
Jeter, it was
Pujols was
ridiculous.
a recent
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and now Miggy. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
They plan on
I'm
doing
just
something.
miserable, I guess. But it's whenever
Would you
honor-
rather them not do anything?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, they're
if you
honoring-
wanna applaud him. That's fine. Let the fans organically
Yeah.
do it. But
Yeah.
when it's manufactured by the opposing team, the home team in this case, it's like, come on, this guy's burnt you and hurt
Yeah,
you over
yeah.
the years.
No, I agree.
We should dislike him.
I don't even know
Hate him.
why the fans would even cheer for him when he goes to the plate for the last. I mean,
You're not gonna-
thank him
you're not-
for his
are you gonna
baseball
clap?
contributions.
You're gonna
to
join
Detroit?
in the
I don't
clap.
understand.
Yeah.
You're
100%.
definitely joining in on the clap.
No.
You're not going to clap for
I don't join
Cabrera.
in on the wave either. I go like that.
No,
Oh,
no,
boy,
no.
good for you.
I'm
Forget
talking
the
about
wave.
Good for you.
clapping for an
Yeah,
all-time
golf clap,
great.
maybe. I'll do a golf clap.
So you can clap, yeah.
Maybe. But
Maybe
I'm
when he
not
strikes out, then applaud that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
hope he hits a
Cabrera.
bomb. Just because of all this, I hope he
If
hits
it's
a bomb tonight.
yeah, look, he triple crown. He won the MVP. Great player. But what does that have to do with Toronto Blue Jays baseball?
Yeah, I don't know.
What if he gets a bigger cheer than Fred McGriff?
He
Right,
probably
you
will.
Throwing at the first
throwing
pitch,
out the
yeah.
first pitch.
That's he probably
That would
will,
upset me
actually.
because half the people in that stadium tonight
Yeah.
won't know who Fred McGriff is.
What are your thoughts on Fred McGriff throwing out the first pitch? That's your guy.
He's a legend, man. Because one of the first athletes I really embraced when I moved to Canada all those years ago. It's a long
Yeah.
time ago. He was amazing. Back when 30 home runs a year was amazing, and
Yeah.
he did it. What a player he was.
Yeah, Fred McGriff. I had a poster of him on my wall.
Crime
So, him and Juan
Crime
Guzman.
dog, yeah.
Juan Guzman didn't really have the
Juan
career
Guzman.
that
Juan
very
Guzman with
close.
the blue glove was so
I had
sick.
the blue glove. I thought
Yeah.
it was him. I was
Yeah.
horrible.
You have me. I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
See,
See?
right
What do
there.
you mean? You're more you're like a
Juan Guzman?
Felix
Who's that?
Hernandez guy.
No, these guys are way before my time.
Are you a Seattle Mariner fan or Jays fan?
No, I'm not a Jays fan. I guess you could say I'm a Mariners fan.
Hey, you're from Vancouver, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's just I don't believe in the whole propaganda that the Blue Jays
Propaganda.
have to be Canada's team.
They don't have to be
But-
Canada's
but
team.
that-
As someone from Toronto, I don't think they need to be Canada's
the
team.
Blue
No, I don't
Jays
want
do
them to
that.
either.
They
Yeah.
push that. They push that narrative.
Well,
Well,
because
of
they're
course.
trying to sell
Yeah.
more.
They're the
more
only team
I,
in the
merchandise.
I don't
country.
fall into that propaganda.
Yeah.
I don't
But
believe in that.
if they are in Toronto, they are Canada's team, right?
No, they're
For obvious
not.
reasons.
It's not really Canada's team. They're Toronto's team.
You
They're
got
Toronto's
You
team.
got the little thing there.
So they put a maple leaf on the logo that essentially makes them Canada's team.
Bring
Yeah.
back the Expos. All right?
Yeah,
How about that?
exactly.
I would
Sure,
love to
bring
see the
back the
Expos.
I drove
Yeah.
by the Olympic Stadium the other day.
And?
when we were in
Big O?
Montreal.
As awful as ever.
What did you
Just
do?
sitting there doing nothing. I
know,
think there's a
it's
concert going there anyway, but it's too
sad.
bad.
I know.
Yeah.
There needs to be
they
another
host
team.
CF
Come on.
Montreal games now and again.
Okay.
There needs to be another team.
Well,
in
they
Canada.
were
It's
close
crazy.
a couple years ago, splitting time with them in Tampa, but
Yeah.
It's like they want every other city except Montreal for whatever reason.
you know, it's-
Anyway, another game going on, not in Toronto, but a Toronto team involved. The Leafs against the Lightning. I promise. I'm not going to ask you who's going to be game one starter.
Speaking of Canada's team,
Yeah.
Canada's team. The Toronto
Also a
Maple
Leaf
Leafs
on
are
the
taking on
oh.
the Lightning.
but here we go.
Is this a statement game,
No.
or is that a completely overblown statement?
Totally overblown. It doesn't matter. They're both locked into where they are. You don't want to go out there and get pushed around to give the other team any sort of like extra, good feelings heading into the playoff round. But no, it means nothing. It'll probably be a pretty boring game. I think
How
from
do you?
start to finish.
So I'm
Watch
trying
it
to
though,
figure
right?
out. This is one of those games where I'm probably going to stay away betting wise. But
Yeah.
how would you bet this game?
Wouldn't.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Right? You can
Just
it's a
find the
complete stay
value
away?
and like the Leafs will probably be the underdogs, so, but not. I don't know. I
They're
haven't even
slight
looked.
underdogs.
Yeah, maybe
But
find the value
essentially
there.
like a pick 'em more or less.
Do you think it'll be a light checking game, high scoring, or a boring game where they don't really
I have
try?
no idea. I mean, if they put the Owen Sound goalie in there, it could get ugly.
Yeah.
Just play it like a preseason.
I just hope it
game.
doesn't get
Just
to the
play it
point
like
where
a
they
preseason
they
game.
put Chenard in.
and they're going to yank him.
Yeah, to bring in Samsonov.
How many goals would it take, do you think?
No,
least-
there's no way if they don't. If he's
No,
not,
come
he's
on,
not
Bobby,
coming
you
in.
have
He's
to
not
get
coming
seven-
in.
At
get out
least
there
seven
and
goals.
shell.
You're not bringing in your game one starting goaltender cold to get an injury. It's just not happening.
Is this mismanagement or just bad luck?
A
It's
little
a
bit
bit
of
of
both,
both.
actually.
Luck,
bit of
it's just
both.
weird.
Get the
You
E-
knew this was
the e-bug is
something
going
like
in
that.
before.
But you
before
knew
Samsonov.
something like this was possible with Matt Murray's injury history.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right?
it's management in that case.
So here we are.
Right, you're that close to the cap.
Yeah.
And you have Matt Murray just hanging on by a thread most nights.
You
Yeah.
put somebody else in gear, and the e-bug, whatever you got to do.
Who stops more
Samsonov.
pucks in net? Sheldon Keefe or Kyle Dubas?
Sheldon
Sheldon
oh,
Keefe's bigger. He's
Yeah,
got more
I'll put
coverage.
Sheldon in
He's
there
got
for
more
sure.
coverage.
He's
Yeah.
got a head on him, huh?
It's a
Yeah.
big head. Yeah.
Blockhead. Sorry, Sheldon. I'm just
We're blockheads.
See,
We
look
can
at
say
me.
that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm no Brad Pitt. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Conway. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game tonight. Please film
I'll do my best.
producer Sean. Producer Sean said he'll also buy you a beer, so that's on the table.
I will be there with my camera.
There you go. You didn't happen. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to wrap up the show. It's going to be us three. We're going to talk about what we're watching tonight. Lots of games on tonight. We'll also touch on quickly the Toronto Raptors play-in. Maybe one bet I have to send you guys off.
I'm watching another live feed of Sean eating the.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'd rather watch that. That's
Yeah.
must-see TV.
While James Sharman is watching
We need
snooker,
an over
you'll be
under on
watching,
time, how long it's gonna
producer
take.
Sean eating a poutine dog. All right, stay tuned. More Homestand after the break.